This is almost as bad as Gothicana. When I said recently that I like witch versus witch hunter books, this is an exception to that. This is legitimately one of the worst books that I have ever read on this channel, and it's about a necromancy witch, so that feels like a personal attack. Thanks. Hi, my name's Rachel, and today we're talking about The Coven by Harper L. Woods, unfortunately. This was requested by my patron, Kiari. Thank you for the request. This book is an adult paranormal urban fantasy set in a school setting, so also dark academia, kind of, except it's really none of that. Its genre, I would argue, is simply erotica, which as a genre is a valid genre. However, when I know that something's erotica, I set different expectations than I would going into a paranormal urban fantasy. My expectations were way too high. I am a plot girly, and I like witches who do necromancy, so I had very different expectations. Girls who do necromancy, supremacy, kind of my thing, kind of my jam, but this and The Coven are so very different books because this set out to do something and this set out to do something very different. So just because they both say necromancy does not mean that they actually have very much in common. I was led to believe that The Coven would have more to it based on the reviews. I was lied to. Hope you're hungry for nothing, because the spice is the only thing that's here, and the spice isn't even good. This is like ordering buffalo wings and getting a very vinegary batch of soggy buffalo wings. Sure, it's spicy, but it also isn't enjoyable in any way. This is, like Gothicana, a mostly just a spice book between a student and a, well, he's not her teacher, like in Gothicana. It's her headmaster, even though that role is played about as much as it would be in a Rhymes with Corn, and I have nothing against corn. But again, this is about genre expectations. I want to know it's corn before I open it, and I still expect corn to have a level of being good. Just don't lie to me about genre expectation. Don't promise me necromancy and then give me bad corn. That is what this book did. This book really pissed me off. You know what makes me feel better though? Cozying up to a better book in Ultimate Comfort. And when I think Ultimate Comfort, I think of today's sponsor, which is Parade. Ultimate Comfort is their bread and butter. Parade is a female-owned, all-bodies inclusive brand of underwear and apparel. They make the only bras that I wear. I am super loyal to them. Even before I worked with them, I was a loyal customer of Parade. I fell in love with their bralettes. I've since tried their underwear and their bodysuits, which I also love. Parade makes sustainable and affordable bras, underwear, bralettes, apparel in a variety of sizes, including up to 5X. I am loyal to Parade. They are loyal back. I just got some new pieces in the mail that I'm obsessed with. These are the most comfortable bras and underwear and bodysuits that I've ever owned. The mesh is called Silky Mesh. It's butter soft, but it's mesh. It's also very breathable, so I'm not sweating my literal titties off because it is 95 degrees in Florida right now. I don't even think we've hit summer yet. Comfort and not sweating are always my priorities for me, for the girls. Stop living your life in discomfort no matter what bad books you're reading. Give yourself the gift of comfy, non-sweaty titties. Join me in being a loyal Parade girly. You can click the link below and use my code READS30 for 30% off, site-wide, excluding the sales item. And join me in being part of Sweat-Free Titty Committee. Hit that link below, use code READS30, and thank you so much to Parade for sponsoring today's video. So a couple things about this video. Number one, my sister is visiting. She's downstairs and I have to talk about bad porn. So I'm really hoping that she doesn't hear this. And if you are hearing this, please, for the love of God, pretend that none of this ever happened. The other thing that I have to tell you is that this fucking book decided not to let me export my notes out of Kindle Unlimited, and I'm pissed about it. So I have to do this by literally scrolling through the book, which is so shitty and stupid. Let's start with the trigger and content warnings, which I'm sure will be so well done. The Coven is a dark paranormal romance with gothic vibes and a dark academia setting. The male lead in this series is pushy, domineering, and manipulative. He goes beyond my typical morally great anti-hero and is, in my opinion, an actual villain who gets his happily ever after. He's the devil. Like literally. So anyways, triggers include dubious consent, forced feeding, graphic violence, rough and explicit sexual content, forced proximity, betrayal. Betrayal is a trigger now. Listen, I am very much for trigger warnings. We have talked about this before, but I need y'all to understand what a trigger actually is. References to past abuse and traumatic reactions to triggering stimuli. All right, that's better. Knife violence. Better. Graphic depictions of blood. Actual trigger. Yes. Physical harm inflicted upon the main character. Actual trigger. Ritualistic murder. Okay, sure. Betrayal. We then get told about the legacies of Crystal Hollow. I literally don't remember any of this being pertinent, and it's not. It's not pertinent because this is just erotica and it doesn't really exist for the purpose of telling a story. It exists for the purpose of turning you on, which again is fine. I'm just saying that when we do these things and we don't do them well, it just feels a little cheap. So like if you're watching porn and suddenly you can see the set, that's how this feels. So we get told the legacies of Crystal Hollow are crystal witches, also known as whites, cosmic witches, also known as purples. We get told there's earth witches, air witches, water witches, sex witches, fire witches, and necromancy witches. And each of these has 2 houses.
Their names are Groucho, Harpo, Chico, Zeppo, and Peppy.
You will remember precisely none of this. The other thing that I need to tell you is that the audiobook and the ebook are different. I don't know why. There are pieces, entire pieces, missing from the audiobook. I don't know why this is. I thought, okay, well maybe it's because like this was self-published and then got turned into traditionally published. That still doesn't make sense because the version I read was on Kindle Unlimited. It's not like an older version. It seems to be the only version that currently like exists that's, you know, like newer. I don't know. I have no idea. Who published this? Oh, you're wondering who published this. That's funny. It's the same people that published Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. That's right. This was published by Tor. Go ahead and let that sink in for just a second. Didn't Tor also publish Gothicana? No, that was Bramble, which is also an imprint of Macmillan though. So Macmillan, friend, I would love to know what the fuck is going on over there. I want to read you this author's note. My dearest witchlings, the last 2 years have been an absolute whirlwind, a delicate balance of extreme highs and devastating lows. I didn't take the time I needed to focus on my healing in my determination to see my children through their own trauma and devastation when our lives turned upside down until Willow. In the middle of the longest burnout and creative slump of my career, Willow and Gray, the love interest, came charging through to show me that there were still voices speaking. Some stories are agonizingly slow to write. It can take time to get to know the characters deeply enough to truly live through their voice and experience so that you can find a way to be vulnerable with them. But from the first sentence, Willow's story poured free and onto the pages faster than my team could keep up. Her words consumed me, and it took me weeks to understand why. She's everything I wish I could have been when I faced my own demons. Willow is so confident in everything she does. She's steely in her resolve and stands up for herself and beliefs in a way that I rarely dared for a while. She doesn't allow anyone to make her feel bad for her goals and ambition, and the fact that she'll do what it takes to make them her reality. I hope she inspires my readers the way she inspired me. Even when it seems like everything is working against you and the lies just keep building, I hope you fight. All my love, Addie. I guess Addie is the author's other name. I don't know, maybe Harper L. Woods is a pseudonym. I don't know, I haven't looked up this author. That feels like it was written for an entirely different book because what I'm about to describe to you does not sound like that in the least. That is not the Willow that I read about. So, all right, in the prologue, we have POV of Alaric Grayson Thorne, who also gets called Gray and also gets called Thorne, sometimes gets called Alaric. And pretty much early on, I said, this dude's the devil. And it turns out I was right, which is the big reveal at the end when all the plot comes out. Up till then, there is no real plot. It's just horniness and it's boring as hell.
Words, empty words.
I don't mind things being horny. Listen, I just had the most lovely week listening to Sleep Token, and like all of us who are Sleep Token fans, I said, Provider is kind of that girl. I wanna be a provider. But this, not that girl. So Alaric Grayson Thorne, soon to be known as the devil. This is a very short book. I mean, it's not a very short book. It could have been shorter. It could have just not existed. It should have just been a porn scene on AO3 and then we get the fuck out of here. That's really what this was, right? And I think it would have worked as that. It doesn't, like, the fact that I could have paid for this is bonkers to me. Thankfully I didn't. I got it through the library. Wait, I did pay for it through Kindle Unlimited technically. Whatever I paid, it was too much. This is not like a quality book that I would recommend anybody read if they're looking. I mean, you can get just as good of porn on AO3 for free. In fact, it's better on AO3. If you need some recommendations, some of my friends have been writing some stuff that is juicy. Oh wait, I don't know if I'm allowed to share that. Just know that it exists and sometimes my friends are the ones writing it. Okay, prologue, we open. Alaric, the love interest, I struggle to call him that, the guy, because this is dual POV, he's walking to the tribunal at the witch college. Now, how do the witches interact with humans? Like in greater society? I don't know. It's not explained. But they have their own school. There are two people known as the Covenant. And this is George and Susanna, and they are literally skeletons. I don't really understand who George is, to be honest. Susanna is a very old, somehow still alive witch. It's not explained. And she is also Willow, our main character, is like great-great-great-great-great-grandmother. Oh, that's right, Charlotte Hecate. Oh, fuck. Now you guys are all gonna make fun of me because I don't know how to say things. It's Hecate. Charlotte raised them from their graves, Susanna and George Collins, and they are the leaders. They are the Covenant. Alaric and this other witch, who he like makes fun of for not being pretty enough, they go talk to Susanna and Charlotte. George was a witch, but now there was a prophecy that determined the Coven's rules, forcing male witches to make the choice children or their magic. Now, Alaric is not human either. He is a vessel. My kind were not meant to be subservient in any way, but the magic that kept us bound to the flesh of our vessels, capital V, made us reliant on the witches if we ever wanted to be freed from the bodies that trapped us. So George says we've decided to reopen the university. We all need fresh blood, and so Alaric says, as much as I would appreciate new blood to feed upon, I have to urge caution in reopening our walls once more. Rumors will spread the moment we announce our reopening. And I'm like, rumors amongst whom? Who exists? How do these people move through the world? Like, what? I don't understand any of this. 2 generations of witches have been left to learn their magic in the privacy of their home. The time has come for them to be properly educated. We will only open our doors to 12 new students from outside Crystal Hollow every year, and we've personally selected those who will join us based on the power we've detected. There will be no formal announcement. And Alaric's like, what reassurance do I have that we won't suffer a repeat of last time? While we were difficult to kill, some of us had been harmed in the massacre that had occurred 50 years prior. And Susanna, one of the bag of bones that makes up the Covenant, says, if we do not open our doors once again, the witches will have no one left to breed with. And immediately I said, oh no, this is breeding kink, which is super not my thing. If we die out, so will your kind. Do not forget that you require the blood of our people to sustain you, Alaric. So the vessels need witch blood to be sustained. And he's like, well, you should focus on the reason the population of witches has been dwindling faster than we anticipated. Why is that happening, Covenant? And he knows the answer, and it's Susanna's fault. All of this is stupid. All of this is like none of this matters. I just want to impress upon you that none of this actually matters. None of this is like, oh, shocking twists and turns. This is all here as set dressing for horniness. In the next chapter, which is chapter 1, we meet Willow, our main character, who is with her younger brother. Their mother has just died. Their mother didn't raise them in the Covenant, or in the Coven. She'd had a happy, full life free of the Coven that would have dragged her back to Crystal Hollow kicking and screaming. Now, I'm confused because, again, they closed the school. It's just reopening now. I don't know. Her father's there, and she hates him. Her brother has a different father. Her dad is a necromancy witch. He's not supposed to exist. And now, without her mother there to have wards up, the destiny my parents had chosen would come for me whether I wanted it or not. So she is the child of 2 witches, which apparently is not typical. She tells her brother, all right, time to get your things. I said, swallowing past the surge of emotion that seemed to clog my throat. The humans in town often called it a frog in the throat because of the hoarseness. I'd never understood the analogy, instead feeling as if it were grave dirt coming to claim me from the inside. Wow, this writing is great. It says that she cares very little for the duty that her parents gave her. I don't know why her mom cares about this duty, because it's really more about her dad's family, and her mom swore her to secrecy against her brother. I don't know. If I'd had it my way, Destiny could kiss my ass. This is great. Our mother had never meant to have another child, not after the reality of what I was and what that would mean for those closest to me. The least we could do was protect him, her brother, with everything we had, even if it meant abandoning him to people he barely knew in the process. He's gonna go live with his father's family, and her plan is to go find her aunt's bones so that she can be a necromancy witch and avenge her aunt's death because her dad is mad that his sister was killed. I'm gonna be honest, I don't understand the timeline of this whatsoever. In the next chapter, Susanna and George, the bags of bones that make up the Coven, I keep calling them bags. They're literal skeletons. I'm calling them a bag of bones as a pejorative. They call Alaric the vessel back in. Oh, I hate that he's a vessel, capital V. It's just occurring to me now, vessel, capital V. Just like, I wanna be a provider. Wow, I hate this. Why are you ruining Sleep Token for me? Don't do that to me. That's all I have right now. So George is like, we have another student for you to collect before class begins. I don't know why the headmaster is the one who has to go collect students specifically. He's like, I prefer the fires of hell to the confines of the body crafted to trap me here. My men had successfully collected 2 whites who channeled via crystals, purple, the cosmic witches, grays who channeled with air, blues who channeled with water, reds, the sex witches, and yellows who channeled with fire from outside the magical barrier surrounding Crystal Hollow. This is actually when I noticed that the audiobook and the ebook are very different, because the sex witches thing, among other pieces of this, are not in the audiobook. They're only in the ebook, and I don't know why. So he explains like all of these are like descendants of these houses that connect to these different color witches, like green, blue, clear, crystal, purple. None of this actually matters because it's not like we see any of this on the page. Like the point is the horniness between Alaric and Willow. House Hecate, is that how you say it? The sole black legacy had gone extinct in the massacre 50 years prior.
Dum dum dum.
A new witch has made herself known to us. And he's like, okay, well, if she's 16, she can attend next year. She's too young to begin at Hallows Grove for another 4 years. Hallows Grove required all students to be at least 20 years of age, given the rituals that happened within the school walls once a week when the reaping came. This is a sex thing. And they're like, they hand him a packet of information, and it's about Willow. And apparently she has mismatched eyes. The left a faint pale purple, and the right sparkling like liquid gold. Her hair fell in full waves around her shoulders, a deep mahogany.
That's the marmalade.
That is mahogany.
And a jacket covering the first hint of fascinating curves. Are they fascinating? I don't find them that fascinating. Is it that compelling? They're like, she was hidden from us after her awakening. I guess your magic awakens at 16. She's the last of a founding family, Alaric. It's important that she be brought to Hallows Grove immediately. How has she remained hidden all this time? Why didn't you know she existed before now? And they're like, well, we presume that her mother warded her from the site along with herself after she faked her death nearly 2 decades ago. This is 20 years. Her mom can't have been that old. So her mom never attended the school? I don't know. What is the timeline? And he's like, all right, so you want me to force her to come here? I possess no morals. I cared nothing at all for the girl I'd never met, or the free will most would say she had a right to, but the Coven cared about such things. They mandated that nothing could happen in Crystal Hollow unless a witch gave permission. From breeding to feeding, they consented every step of the way, even if they had to twist circumstances to gain that consent.
No means no.
Fine.
They did what they had to do to ease their guilty conscience with lies. And they're like, get her no matter the cost. Great. Fantastic. One of the red witches caught my eye as I passed. They hated us, but that didn't stop them from wanting the hate sex that so often came with feedings. Centuries of disdain couldn't stop the fact that a witch and a vessel were very well suited in some ways. And this is when I definitively knew that this book was no plot, just horny. My fangs throbbed with the need to feed.
It's a little early for a full moon.
Jesus, at least buy me dinner first. In the next chapter, she's talking to her dad, Willow is. He's like, you're playing with fire. Nobody's supposed to know that your brother exists because there can't be a male witch or something. You should have had his father take him to the funeral. It says, I could just picture my father's face now. His unique purple eyes. His hair was pure black, lacking the red sheen that seemed more prominent at the ends. I'm like, this is so corny. This is like majorly corny. Maybe the blood-dipped hair was a sign of the keeper of bones, a duty that had ignored my father and lain dormant until my birth. You're demanding I give up my entire future for your revenge. It's not just my revenge. She was your Aunt Willow, the older sister who had given everything to protect the knowledge of his existence, the one who had stolen her baby brother from his crib and sent him to grow up somewhere far away from the Coven, so no one can make him choose between his magic and the ability to sire children. Years of my father's insistence that keeping myself untouched would drive a vessel to the point of obsession. Vessel, capital V. What a loving relationship he'd fostered with that gift, turning his only daughter into a weapon designed to do the one thing he couldn't. Bone a dude? Just kidding. Find the bones of my ancestors, the bones of his sister, and all of the black, capital B, witches who had come before her and use them to unmake the vessels and destroy the covenant. Only the bones would fully enable me to grasp the magic of the Hecate line. She deserves to find peace, Willow. I don't give a damn about my birthright, it says. Except then she just goes to the school and does the thing. Okay. Collecting the bones was a mean to an end, a necessity for my aunt and all those who came before her to find their way home. Most of the witches of the coven drew their power from nature, the greens like my mother from the earth, the whites from crystals, the yellow from fire, but the blacks had been different. We drew our power from the bones of our ancestors, from the magic that only existed within our line. Wow, this would be so cool in a different book where it wasn't underutilized. So she is the last of the necromancy witches. I'd been too young to remember when my father taught me the principle of summoning, how to use my blood and wear the bones of my ancestors to raise the dead. Except you can't do that because you don't have the bones of your ancestors, right? Don't you need the... I don't know. Who's to say? It doesn't matter. This is really... We're just leaving the part up to the part where they bone. And not bone as in necromancy bones, but like boning. Like...
And the probing. Oh, the probing.
Do you have any idea what I would give to be the witch our ancestors chose to wear the bones, he says. I have some idea. He would sacrifice me in a heartbeat if he thought the bones would fall to the only remaining member of the Hecate line. It was why he only had one child, so that there would only be one person standing in his way. One day I would either have to kill my father or allow him to kill me. Her doorbell rings, and there's a guy at her door, and it's Alaric.
How serendipitous.
Miss Mediza, I presume. And of course, immediately, his gaze rakes down her body, sliding over her stomach and thick thighs until his smile broadened when he took in the combat boots at my feet. Ooh, sexy. I represent a prestigious university. We have a unique opportunity for you to study alongside the best and brightest students of your year. And she's like, no. She wears an amulet and it's warming against her chest. He tries to use compulsion against her to let him into her house, and she realizes that he is a vessel, capital V. Hollows Grove University would like to welcome you to attend in 2 days' time. It's the sort of opportunity that a girl like you would be foolish to reject so carelessly. A girl like me? What does that mean? An orphan, he says. This is very much channeling Gaston. She's like, don't you need to be a child to be considered an orphan? If I'm a child, then what does that make you with your lingering gaze? And he says, you're not a child.
I'll never call you stupid behind your back again.
I'm not interested in attending any university that sends a seedy, sketchy man to the doorstep of my home. If you'd like to leave me an application and save a stamp, my mailbox is right over there. There are no applications. It's invitation only. I should have introduced myself. I'm the headmaster. This is your formal invitation. Then leave my invitation in my mailbox. And he says, I am the invitation. And I'm like, no, you are douchey and a loser. He couldn't enter without an invitation, and I'd be damned to the 9 circles of hell before I ever gave him one. And she's like, if you're the invitation, then I am definitely not interested. Yeah, okay, we'll see. In the next chapter, it's his POV, and he says, why don't you come outside and lie to me again, love? And I'm like, wait, why are we using pet names already? We're in chapter 4. Get a grip. In spite of her clear exhaustion, she was every bit the stunning, tempting distraction I didn't need. Then leave. Do us both a favor, for the love of God. And then it explains that he has a boner because she's so hot. It's just a whole page of talking about his boner. Great. And describing her body. Cool beans. I'm surprised you can fit on that porch with the size of your ego, she said. Let's count how many chapters don't have any plot and just have them being horny in them. This is the first. She'd trained, I realized with certainty. Whereas the boy, which he sees, her brother, had not. He did not possess an amulet to protect him from compulsion. So she tells her brother, get in the kitchen. She covered Alaric's mouth so that he wouldn't use I don't know why I'm showing you this. This is what it looks like when somebody covers your mouth. And she covers Alaric's mouth so that he can't use compulsion on her brother. That's quite the secret you've been keeping, witchling. If you come with me quietly, I won't tell the coven about the male witch in your house. You expect me to trust a blood-sucking parasite? You can't hide in that house forever. I'm offering you a way to save your brother from making the choice. Capital C. Call someone to come get him and come with me, and no one needs to know. I don't know why he does her this favor. And she's like, watch me. She hits him in the balls, and so he's like, all right, well, fuck. So all the other vessels show up, and they're like, they have to go after her. And he talks to one named Juliet and says, Juliet, when she does surface, she's mine. Is that understood? You want to guess how many times the book says mine in it? It's a few.
Oh, thanks. There it is again.
So Willow and her little brother Ash are on the run after she inevitably gets captured and goes to the school. Inevitably, right? Imagine, if you will, a normal amount of times for her to think about her little brother who she's trying to keep safe. Whatever you're thinking, the answer is 0. She doesn't think about her brother after that. It's not a thing she cares about at all. She has bound Ash's magic, which I don't know why that was a good idea. She tells her brother that they are witches and that his father is not a witch and that he should go live with his father. So she gets him to a bus station because there are creatures that will come after him called vessels who survive off of witches' blood. They work with the coven of witches and live together. We want to avoid going there altogether. Vessels are bodies crafted by the Hecate line, designed to live forever and house the things inside them. Without those vessels, they burn through human bodies within a year. What had once been allies serving the same higher power had become tentative enemies trapped together, an animosity that grew over generations. So she sends her brother to the bus, and then she calls for help against the vessels who are coming for her. She specifically asks the forest for help, and it says, Adiuva me, which sounds like Spanish. Is that an actual language? I don't know. What is that? Latin? So the vessels are coming after her. They're like chasing her down in the forest. And they're like, Alark, don't go after her. What are you thinking of going into the forest after her? I didn't want one of the witches who waited for me there back at Crystal Hollow. I wanted her. I'm hungry, I said. It's rude to play with your food, Juliet said.
So you're assuming they'll have already eaten.
And he sends her to go find the brother. So then Willow and Alark get into it, and of course there's like banter, which is so dumb. Careful, witchling. At some point, this will all cease to be entertaining. By the way, it says a vessel could only be destroyed by a necromancer, their magic sending the thing within back to the depths of hell. A stake could do the job, technically, if a witch managed to slip their magic into the chasm where their heart might have been. This is so overly complicated for no reason. And it doesn't matter because we never see this. So it's like, well, mine was a stake carved from wood. So, you know, that's my magic. So a blue witch would need to find a way to slip water within the heart chasm of a vessel. None of this matters. We never see this. You know what this book feels like? This book feels like when you're a kid and you're playing pretend games and you're just making shit up as you go, and then by the time you have finished the game with your friends, it has turned into a completely different game than you originally started playing. Okay, pretend I'm a witch who has like fire powers, and in order to like kill the monster, then I have to slip my fire magic into their heart chasm. And then by the end you're like, and also I'm a baker and I bake magical potions. It's like this just has turned into something like everything we do is pointless by the end. I drove the stake toward his heartless chest, screaming as I channeled my magic into the wood in my hand. And of course he like catches her wrist. She says, fuck you, and he says, gladly, witchling, though I must admit I thought I'd need to buy you dinner first. Did you just take my joke? How dare you? So this is just another chapter of them being horny. You're quite the little demon, aren't you? His mouth approached my exposed neck. The tips of his fangs touched me. They broke through the skin. His toxin worked its way through me, and the bastard did nothing to ease the pain, even though he could have. He could have transformed the pain into pleasure. Instead, he left me to burn. And she said, that was rude. That was really fucking rude. She runs away. She's not fast enough. And then the other vessels are there and they have her brother. Let him go, I whispered. I already gave you the chance to come quietly to save him. You rejected my offer rather rudely. And she's like, isn't there anyone that you love? Anyone you would do anything to protect? Vessels do not have hearts. You'll do well to remember that in the coming years. Then I feel sorry for you, I said. So they're by the bus stop and he just lets her brother go. And the other vessels are like, oh, Gray, how could you just let the boy go? Run, get on the bus, and don't ever look for Willow again. And he uses his compulsion on the kid. She's like, why would you do that? One day you will owe me a favor for this. You will give me anything I ask of you. And after this, like, a pattern like goes across her skin, and that means like a deal has been made with a demon. Except that wasn't a deal. That was extortion. So, okay. And he's like, so you're going to be a problem? If it is order that you value, then I will bring you nothing but chaos, she says, which is so corny. And of course, they head to the school, which is in Salem, Massachusetts. If he knew what I was or what I'd come to do, he'd close the distance between us and tear out my throat. When he discovered I was the one who could unmake him, capital U, reducing his vessel to the mud it had been created from and sending his soul back to the pits of hell. The task ahead of me was 1, seduce the vessel, 2, learn what he knows, 3, find the bones. This is the first that I'm hearing about such a task, and we are 18% into this book. 18% is when I learn what her plan is, and then she just doesn't do this plan hardly at all. She's like, I don't have any interest in being part of the coven and being a witch with you people. You are not the only one who thinks of Crystal Hollow as a prison, he says, but the world isn't ready for us to exist in the open. You endangered us all by living outside the wards for as long as you did with the kind of magic you possess. There is an entire line of magic trapped within your veins until your brother comes of age and claims what is his. Any other witch would have gotten rid of him before he could do so. And she's like, well, maybe I'm selfish and that's why only I remain of the greens. Maybe the witches deserve the fate that awaits them without the connection to the magic that formed the wards. You'll get no argument from me that witches are selfish, greedy creatures. Don't forget, your ancestors came into their powers by selling their souls to the devil himself, which, by the way, is him. The magic that flows through your veins may be green, but your heart is black like all the others in the end. And she says, at least I have one. This is so cheesy. She asks what he knows of humans, and he says, I know they don't taste as good as witchlings. They're also less likely to slit your throat while you sleep. Oh, she says that to him, and he says, does that mean you intend to be in my bed, witchling? And she says, over my dead body, which is weird because that is literally the plan that she has. So I don't know why she's not, I don't know. And he's like, I'll have to come to yours then. So already, all we're doing is horniness. Juliet, the woman vessel, says, will you two just fuck already? You'll feel better once you get it out of your system. And Willow says, I'm not sure I could live with the shame. And I'm like, but isn't that literally what you said your plan was in the last chapter? Like, why hold it off? So then she starts flirting with the other vessel in the car named Kairos, and it says,
they ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really.
Great. That's enough, the headmaster ordered. I'm the last of the Mediza witches who gave their blood to the formation of your vessel. Not only will the Covenant be eager to breed me with a male witch of their choosing, but I could have my pick of your kind if I so choose, you know, for fun. So do not disillusion yourself into thinking that I would ever choose you. That sounds like a challenge, witchling. I very much look forward to reminding you how much I hate you when
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because
this is just horny. This is dumb. And it says, it was all according to the plan my father had decided would be the most likely to produce results, so why couldn't I squash the dread sinking into my stomach? And I'm like, this is all according to the plan? This is a terrible plan. This is a legitimately bad plan. It reminds me of like having the school describe you at Gothicana. It's just like gothic, dark, spooky, contrived bullshit. There is mention of my skin throbbed at the visual symbol of the goddess who'd created us all, goddess capital G, the first witch who'd led to all of our creation, forming an alliance with the devil and leading to the witches serving him. She'd been the first necromancer, the first to summon the other clans of the coven, for each to be bestowed with magic. Now, I don't know like where like the devil is in this, goddess capital G. I don't know where God falls into this, but like the different things about hell, like demons, like specific demons are mentioned, but I don't know. I don't understand a lot of this. The steps leading up to the doors were 6 in number, 6 steps, 6 doors, and 6 windows surrounding them. Not 666. And then there's a granite slab with the names of the witches who were lost in the massacre 50 years ago, including her aunt, Lorelei Hecate, but she doesn't give that away because nobody can know that she is a necromancy witch. As far as they know, that line, the black witches, died with her aunt, and that's whose bones she's there to try to find, and her plan is to seduce the headmaster, who's a vessel, in order to find out what he knows so that he can get the bones. I don't know why specifically she needs the vessel to tell her, but all right. Anyway, she goes and she meets Susanna, the skeleton lady, who she's also like the great-great-great-great-great-granddaughter of or something. Every time we talk to Susanna, the skeleton, it mentions like there was no movement on her face, no shift in her bones, but somehow I could still sense the way she raised her brow. And like we do this over and over, and it just feels very cheap. She specifically tells Alaric that Willow is off limits to him. That's not entirely true, he said. I heard the smirk in his voice, but my mother had warned me that my seduction would need to be a secretive one, that the covenant forbade relationships between witches and vessels, except not sexual ones. Okay, we both know that I'm not speaking of that unfortunate exception, the covenant sneered. And when it says the covenant, it's talking about both Susanna and George, or in the singular, I don't know. The grounds have not really been taken care of, and she makes like an offering of blood so that plants can grow. Once again, I don't really understand why it is that these witches do what they do, but apparently they haven't been taking care of their grounds that they live on, but the humans don't know about them. I don't know. But offerings are specifically forbidden by the Coven, she's told by this guy named Ivan, and blood magic in particular is forbidden. What are they going to do? Expel me, she says. And he was a witch, but he gave up his magic so that he could sire children. Why is it like this for male witches? I don't fucking know. She gets so exhausted that she is delirious and feeling half drunk. And so Thorn, Alaric, shows up and he's like, here. And he like gives her his wrist so that she can drink his blood, which helps her replenish her magic, sorry. His compulsion would be stronger. He'd be able to sense me wherever I went. My emotions would be easier for him to feel as if they were his. Open your fucking mouth and drink, witchling. She doesn't seem to want it, Headmaster Thorn, Ivan said. Must you be so impossible? Must you be such an asshole? We then get told about her feelings on her own body. I was average height with an hourglass figure. My body had a decent amount of muscle packed into it, all lingering beneath a certain love of chocolate and sweets that softened my curves. I loved my, it's in quotes, mid-size figure, but I'd never met someone who could carry me up several flights of stairs. But you know who can? Alaric. Do you call all the Hollows Grove students witchling? Is it because you can't be bothered to remember their names? Just you, he said. Isn't this the first class that he's been the headmaster of? And also, what was he headmaster of before this was a school? I don't understand. Thorn was dangerous in all the worst ways. If I couldn't even notice my surroundings when he held me in his arms, hell's sake, I was damned. This is grossly inappropriate, she says. So is calling your headmaster an asshole.
What is wrong with this generation?
Wow, it's really giving Gothicana. In the next chapter, it's in his POV, and it says, the witchling had gotten under my skin. He goes into her room, she's asleep, and he takes off her clothes.
No means no.
Fantastic. Her underwear was black, a lacy boy short that curved down her stomach in a low V before resting higher on her hips. They were perfect for her body. Don't worry, he's just changing her clothes. You know, typical headmaster stuff. And of course, he's got a raging boner. So it says, one thing was clear, I wanted to fuck Willow Mediza. She'd just have to be awake when I did it. Wow, what a gentleman. Willow has like dreams about her mom, who's again dead, and her mom is like, Ash is safe, her brother, but you're not. So Willow like wakes up in a panic. She can feel her ancestors' bones, but she doesn't know where they are. She meets other witches at this school. I think that there's only 12 people enrolled at this school. I don't really know. One of them is named Della Tethys, which is a ridiculous name. Another is Nova Ori, and another is Margot Erotis. Oh, like erotic. She's a red witch. She's a sex witch. Don't mind her. She doesn't like being touched. A sex witch who doesn't like to be touched? That sounds absolutely torturous given your magic. You have no idea, Margot says. None of this matters, if you were wondering. Headmaster Thorn sends food to her directly. If any of the others thought it odd that the headmaster had done something of that nature, they didn't say. The looks they silently exchanged communicated it clearly enough. So she's like, all right, what's my schedule? What do I do? Also, Iben, what are you even doing here? Like, what do you do here since you don't have magic? He says, I serve the Coven in other ways. I'm not going to find my mate anywhere else, am I? More breeding stuff. It's fun. You're willingly looking for your mate? Aren't you a little young? I gave up my magic in the hopes of finding a suitable match that the Covenant would approve of and I could fall in love with, and I'm not going to risk missing her. But like, who was hanging out there before the school reopened? I don't really understand. And she's like, oh, the Coven would approve of him as a match for me. He was a green, so we'd be keeping the bloodlines pure. And I'm like, ew, don't say pure bloodlines. I don't like it. And she's like, well, I can use Iben to make the headmaster jealous so that I can seduce him, which is a genuinely terrible plan, honestly. But Iben figures this out pretty quickly, and he's like, you're playing with fire doing that? She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. You were really bad at this. I thought your dad and mom trained you your whole life for this. What a terrible plan. Soon enough, you'll realize that the vessel isn't a possibility for you, Iben said. Maybe then you'll see the way you seem in. Oh man. This is so draining. Enjoy your games, Willow, but just know I play to win. He literally loses so quickly. In the next chapter, Gray, Alaric, Grayson, Thorn, he has 3 fucking names. The headmaster, the vessel, is in fact annoyed that she's flirting with Iben. She was the worst kind of danger or temptation that would push me to do stupid, foolish things just to get my cock wet. It's just another chapter of horniness. The Covenant would attempt to take my balls before they let me pursue something more than the reaping with Susanna's precious granddaughter. It's like her great-great-great-great-granddaughter, but okay. I scoffed at the thought, settled in the knowledge that witches and vessels would never willingly come together in such a way. The reaping had been established for a reason, a way to give the vessels regular access to the witch's blood we needed without allowing relationships to form. Vessels and witches could fuck, but anything more than that was strictly forbidden by the covenant. Oh my god, we get it. It can't be anything more than sex. Move on. It was why we blindfolded the witches when we fed, so that we would never know exactly who they were feeding or fucking if they chose. Just pure casual sex without any of the complications when the sun rose. This is so boring. I don't even want to talk about this book anymore. It's so boring. She breaks the dress code and he's like, we have a dress code. And she says, are you going to give me detention? He says, we don't have detention here. No shit. You're like 20. This is, okay. I think I need to take a break because I'm honestly like wanting to just wrap this up and say what happens in the end because I care so little about telling you about it. Like it's just bad porn and I just don't care. Like everything that happens is just nonsense. It's nonsensical bullshit and I don't even want to talk about it. I need to take a break.
Hit it. This is gonna go so good. Hi, and I don't want to do this video. The only way I can finish this video is if I explain the rest of the book to my best friend, which is this bitch over here, Natalie.
Hello.
From Weirdo Book Club, who has lent us her streaming recording shit for the remainder of this video. So I did text you and tell you a little bit about this book. How much do you remember from those really coherent voice messages?
Sex witch, sister witch. Am I good? She forgets that there's a brother, or she doesn't care that there's a brother, or?
Well, the thing is that she has a brother and her whole thing is, I must keep my brother safe. And then she doesn't care about keeping her brother safe.
Like you don't care.
Oh, I care. I care deeply about your... What was it?
I mean, that's how my sisters treat me.
I didn't ask for your sister to be the main character in this book, yet here we are. So the headmaster is Vessel, a vessel, capital V.
A vessel or the, okay, capital V.
A bitch can only assume that it was that way because of Sleep Token, which, like, fair, but also, why do you have to ruin things for me?
Can a bitch assume that, or can we bitches who thirst for Sleep Token assume that? Because I feel like
a bitch can assume.
I feel like regular people, which we've established over the last week that we are not, would just be like, oh, cool, like a blood vessel, like the lifeblood of everything, maybe.
Well, he's a vessel because he is a demon from hell, because this is set in the real world, trapped inside of a vessel, capital V. But you're not capitalizing witch. So why are we capitalizing vessel? So a bitch can assume that this is a Sleep Token shout out. Is that a bridge too far?
Is this fanfic?
Everything is fanfic now. This came out in 2023. I can assume that it's about Sleep Token because at that point, Sleep Token had created the words. One of their all I can think is provider.
Stop.
That's all it's on my brain. I'm sorry.
I am the blood of an angel.
I'm a winged insect. You're a funeral pyre. I think we know that this is about Sleep Token, okay?
What does he say? That the Pawn and the Puppet ruined one of their songs for me just because he says like something about a marionette or like a puppet or something, and I'm like, well, there goes that.
Point is, he is a vessel, capital V. He's a demon, but he's also a vampire. And these vampires have to feed on witch blood in order to sustain themselves. But specifically, like, the witches are given over to these vessels in what's called the reaping, where they, like, have to be tied up. So it gets, like, real rapey for no fucking reason.
A reaping.
Yeah, the reaping.
A reaping of raping.
Correct. We haven't even gotten there yet.
I have two questions. One, does Vessel have a name?
My name is Alejandro.
Or is his name Vessel, capital V? Oh, and two, which blood? Which witch blood? I'm sorry. You invited me here.
All of the witches
Okay.
can be vessel, except what can be the witch blood for the vessels, capital V. He's not the only one. He does have a name. In fact, he has three. His name is Alaric Grayson Thorn. He gets called Alaric and Gray and Thorn. It's like the author was like, I like all those names. We're going to call him all the names because that's hot. And also he's a vessel, capital V, and a vampire.
AGT. He better act right.
Bitch.
I'm with you. Vessel, witch blood, reaping. Go on.
She's at this school in Salem, Massachusetts, because the Covenant, which is two people who are skeletons, one of whom is like her great-great-great-grandmother, Susanna, with an S and another S.
Don't you cry for me.
They demanded that the descendants come back to the school, but it seems like people were already at the school. I don't know. None of this makes any sense because, again, this is just bad porn, right? This is just bad. It's not even good porn. Like,
Yeah.
It's not that we're against being horny. I mean, we have for the last week, we have talked about provider to an insane degree.
You have talked about provider.
That is not true. I will not take full responsibility for the conversation. I will not.
I have nothing against being horny, but
nothing against being horny, but this is horny for horny's sake, and it's so horny it's dumb. It's like a 15-year-old writing their first AO3 fanfic, and you're like, it's like one of those things when, as an adult, like you're like, oh shit, my horniest fanfic still exists on the internet. I need to go back in and delete that shit. That's this, except it's published by Tor, which is an imprint of Macmillan, just so we're clear. Okay, so Macmillan's responsible for this. This overly horny, feels like it was written by a 15-year-old with absolutely, like, they're like a dog chasing a bone, and they're just like ignoring everything that's going on around them that they have set up. Like, the plot points are ignored so that we can chase down our horniness.
And this wasn't marketed as like erotica, right?
I'm looking at Goodreads right now, and it says fantasy, romance, romantasy, witches, paranormal, dark romance, fantasy romance, vampires, enemies to lovers. Nowhere on here am I seeing erotica, which is what it is. And as we know, we have different expectations when something is erotica.
Mm-hmm.
I give more passes, not full pass, still need to have some semblance of a plot, but I'm not having a lot of plot expectations. And as you know, I'm a bitch that loves necromancy. And so when you say necromancy witches, I'm like, all in. All right, cool. You say vessel, and I'm like, already interested.
I wanna be a provider.
Sign me up. On the roster.
So this is not that. It's just horny. And it's not even fun. It's just dumb. It's just aggravating and kind of rapey.
That's why I'm here. You said you weren't having fun, that you weren't having any fun doing this. And I was like, just do it with me and it'll be more fun, maybe.
No, this actively made my migraine worse yesterday to the point where I like crashed at like 5 p.m. I told my sister, hey, I'm going to throw up. I'm going to go lay down. And I blame this book specifically.
Haunting Adeline did something to me. Remember I had to wear a heart monitor? I thought I was in danger. I thought something, it was fluttering and I never recovered. And then I was like, I went to the doctor. I told them, they're like, we're going to put you on a heart monitor. I'm like, oh, cool, chill, casual. Let's do that. I'm fine. But that was a real scary month for me because I thought this book tried to kill me. So yes, I understand.
This is my Haunting Adeline.
I'm so sorry.
I would argue that Haunting Adeline has more plot than this. But then again, this is shorter than Haunting Adeline. This is only 298 pages. So we had more room to work in Haunting Adeline. Not that we did any work that was good. We just had more space. This had no space, no time, and no business.
All right.
We're at the school, okay? She was told by her parents, you need to find your dead aunt's bones because 50 years ago there was a mass murder at the school. I guess I'm unclear on who did that. If it was said, I don't fucking remember. What ends up happening is her dad, who's not supposed to exist because he's a male witch and you're supposed to either give up your magic or so you can sire children, but also they're killing male witches. I'm not sure. Unclear again.
I found her aunt. She's been here the whole time.
Susanna! Oh my god! What are you doing here? She has to find her dead aunt's bones. Nobody knows she's a necromancy witch except her and her dad who sent her here. He was in like one scene. He's really not important. None of this is important. Again, like I cannot stress enough to you, none of this is actually important. The important thing is when are we going to have sex, right? Because from the moment that these people come on page, they are horny for each other. The headmaster, Alaric Grayson Thorne, the vessel, gets sent to her house to track her down and tell her, hey, you need to come to this school. And she's like, no, thank you. And then he's like, well, it's not optional. And then he's like, oh, you have a little brother. That's not supposed to happen. Boy witches aren't supposed to be a thing. I don't know. Her brother goes to live with his dad. They have two different dads. She goes to the school against her will. On the way there, she starts to make this vessel guy, Alaric, jealous immediately. She's like rubbing up on this dude in the car, right? Then we get to the school and she is rubbing up on this other dude, Iben with a B.
Is she a cat?
I'm a cat. I'm curious, so kill me.
You know what's funny about that is that the clips that I'm editing into this video as the jokes is Salem from Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Good job. I don't have any nails, but I'm doing
So
it.
thank you for walking me right into that. Okay, so we're at the school and she's flirting with Iben, who is there so that he can breed with a woman witch, because the word breeding comes up an awful lot, like certainly beyond what is comfortable for me. The word breeding just simply does not need to be in a book. When we're talking about people, in my opinion, it's a no-no word for me personally.
Question, sidebar. Do you think that the breeding thing is disenchanted to you because we've had children?
Yes.
Yes, me too. Because there's no. If a man said this to me in real life, even if we were having the best time, we were mixing it up, we were doing things I would not want my grandmother to know I ever knew about.
Do you want to go there? Yes, I do.
Not if you bring up breeding. Like, I have a breeding thing. I'm like, well, you need to move downward the street somewhere else.
You need to take that thing and get the fuck out of my house.
Have you ever experienced sinus blockage because of your second trimester? It's not hot, okay? There's nothing hot about not being able to see your snatch. I can't see it. And then I can't feel it because my C-section did irreversible nerve damage. Don't get me on this.
There is nothing less. I would rather have sex in the dirtiest bathroom than have sex while pregnant.
We went to the same place because I was like, I'd rather you pee on me. I would rather. Because you know what? That is a 10-minute everything shower to get it off and then I'm done.
I can't unpregnant.
I don't like it. I don't really necessarily need that to be involved. But like, you know, if you gave me a choice, I'd be like, piss.
So the breeding thing, immediately no for me. And that's where I think that this is heading, but not in this book. She's not pregnant in this book, but I assume that in later books she's gonna be. And that's like, I can't get down with it. The breeding king thing is like super not for me. But even if like that is not for me, it doesn't mean that I can't find something in the book that like I'll like otherwise. There is nothing to like in this book. Didn't mean to yell. Sorry. There's nothing to like here. It's just all bad. It's just all very, very bad. So she is just hitting on everybody to make this guy jealous because the plan that she was told by her parents was, and I will read it to you.
Oh, there's a plan?
There's a plan.
Okay, good.
Number 1, seduce the vessel, capital V. Number 2, learn what he knows. Number 3, find the bones of her ancestor so that she can do necromancy magic. That's not a plan. 100% it's not a plan, right? We're in agreement there.
It is
that
a
was
plan if you have depression. Because that's what my plans look like when I'm in like a spiral. I'm like, step 1, all right, I'm ready. Today's going to be it. Step 1, put real clothes on. Step 2, brush teeth. Step 3, eat a little something. For other people, that's just a regular day. And this whole thing, you already told me all of this. She's trying to make him jealous. So naturally she wants to bone him. Cross that off. We already know.
She wants to make him jealous so that apparently the seduction is making him jealous. But you don't actually need to do that. You could just seduce him otherwise. But for some reason, that's the route that she's deciding to take. Okay. And I don't know why, but she is. Also, she's a virgin. She was told to stay a virgin by her dad because a vessel wouldn't be able to fucking resist a virgin, which is yucky. Yucky. Ew. And it gets even worse when they actually boink because he talks about this. And it gets real creepy real fast. She's flirting with other men, like extremely much flirting with other men. He's telling her, well, I'm sure they'd be willing to accommodate you if you need to be fucked. I'm certain they'd be happy to service you. And they're like, this is supposed to be them building the tension with each other. And I'm like, this is dumb. By the way, These people have never had a conversation that wasn't about sex. They don't know anything about each other at all. They don't know anything about each other. I don't know anything about them.
Makes me wonder if these authors have ever spoken to another human being. Ever. Like, I can't imagine if I went to a bar, me wandering in, hello, sit down and somebody's like, hey, you look like somebody who likes breeding. I'm like, well, hi, and then it's like, well, if you want to get fucked, there's plenty of people here. Hi, how are you? My name is. What happened to it?
I also don't know what the status is of the witches interacting with real people in this world. Same with the vessel. The vessel are literally demons. I don't know how they interact with actual people. I don't know. Who's to say? Not the book.
Also, if they are real demons, shouldn't they have premonition? So her plan is scrapped. He already knows what the plan is.
Demons, as far as I know, don't have premonition.
I feel like they're the root of all evil, so they would be able to infiltrate your mind, which sounds really evil.
Well, not in this book.
Okay, well, I don't know. What do I know? I've never bred with a demon before.
The men witches at Hollows Grove, which is the school, of course.
In Salem? Wow.
Real on the nose. The men witches who don't have magic anymore, who are there to breed with women witches, get private rooms and their pick of witches to mate with. And the word mate immediately no for me. Breed, mate, I need it gone. I hate it. I don't want those words to exist anymore.
It's just very animal kingdom of you.
It
if
is.
You look to your left, you'll see the capital V vessels found to mate for life.
Vessels and witches are not supposed to mate.
Well, what the hell is the point?
This is also a murder mystery. There are witches being killed. Nobody knows who is doing this or why, but when they bury the witches, they're not burying them according to witch customs, which upsets our main character, Willow. She's like, why is nobody burying them according to witch custom? And so she goes to talk to Susanna about this. And it says, George, will you give me a minute alone with my granddaughter? Which again, yeah, Susanna.
Her name is Willow?
Yeah, Willow is our main character.
Willow the witch.
Yeah, Willow the witch. Real on the nose.
Oh, she's a necromancer. Okay, I was like, if Susanna is bones, how does one talk to?
No, Susanna talks to everybody. I don't know. That's not explained, Natalie. She just is a bag of bone. Also, she's about to get in a fight with that skeleton, so just hold please. Willow says to Susanna, everything you're doing here is shit. And Susanna says, this is all for the good of the coven. How could this be for the good of the coven? The earth is dying around you and you're too stupid to see it. If that is happening to the earth, imagine what is happening to the crystals, to the stars, and the air, which are all these different elements that the different witches channel. All of those need offerings. They need our bodies to be returned to them when we die. You're weakening the very people. Charlotte Hecate. How do you say Hecate? Hecate?
I think you're right. I always have to look it up because I forget, or I think I remembered it wrong. Hold on.
So Hecate. Okay. Well, that's not how the audiobook says it.
I heart Hecate. That's how I'm going to remember it from now on.
Charlotte Hecate, who is her ancestor, who is the original Black Witch, I think. She tasked them with protecting other witches. And so they're supposed to be doing these particular things, burying them a certain way, and they're not. And so she's wondering why. Willow's wondering why. And Susanna, the bag of bones, says, you are so young. You don't understand the ways of the world yet, Willow. And I'm pretty sure that is a particular line that Salem says from Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And she's like, let me guide you. And Willow's like, I'll never be like you. I won't turn my back on the way magic is meant to be used the way you have. Without the Hecate line, the vessels have far more power than they should. We have no way to kill them, while the witches of the coven are very mortal. They live and they die.
Right.
So
oh my God.
As we weaken, as the witches weaken, so do the vessels, who again are demons. They feed on us. The source sustains their vessels, but they can't access it directly. If we no longer have that magic in our blood, then there's nothing to keep the vessels alive. And Willow's like, okay, but we'll no longer have magic. Susanna has allowed magic to dwindle because she's trying to create a new world.
Well, Susanna's dead. So be it. She let magic dwindle a little.
Susanna is that girl. She's just trying to do her best. She's just a bag of bones. She hasn't had enough calcium for this.
Bitch, believe me, as an anemic bitch, I understand. Up top. Crisscross applesauce.
Because Willow will not fall in line, they get in a physical fight where it specifically says that she punches Susanna's ulna and radius.
So if you look here, this is helpful. Isn't this the ulna and radius? Oh my God, health class, gold star. So is she a fully formed skeleton or is she just like in a pile?
She is a fully formed skeleton. Yeah.
So
that's all she is.
So she just punched her arm, her lower arm?
Yeah,
That's
specifically.
better than what I was imagining, because if she's just a pile, hits it, and she's like, oh, that was the ulna. Oh, no.
But without nerves, which Susanna does not have, is that even going to hurt her?
No. Does it?
I'm not a doctor.
I am not a doctor. We are
Why do you
not.
have her like that?
She's in downward dog for Pete. She needs to.
She's face down, ass up.
That's the way we like to fuck. It's downward dog, you uncultured swine. You shouldn't have had me on here. We're never going to get this done.
We are going to get it done, God damn it. So she threatens to put Willow in something called the deep sleep, which, bitch, don't threaten me with a good time. Bitch, she specifically says that even unconscious, she can still get impregnated and therefore serve the purpose of continuing the line. And I was like,
Ew. Ew.
No.
Ew. Ew. Ew.
Get thee behind me, Satan.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's gross.
So who walks in to save her?
Vessel capital V.
A man of many names, all smashed together.
Alaric is from Vampire Diaries, right? And then we've got Vessel from Sleep Token. Grayson could be from countless things. What is the last one?
Thorn with an E.
Whatever. Keep going.
So George, the other skeleton, is like, you've gone too far, Susanna. And Alaric is like, don't touch her, Susanna. And he picks her up and leaves with her, of course. This is like the second.
He picks her up and leaves. Wow, I am gripped. I cannot wait to hear what happens next.
And the thing is, like, this is like the second or third time he's had to carry her. In the next chapter, it's in his POV, because this is dual POV, which is just so fun. What a blast. Again, this is my haunting Adeline. He's like, the scent of her blood calls to me, but because she's hurt, I can't even put my desire before that. And I'm like, wow, what an absolute gentleman. Thank you for not smelling her blood and deciding to be rapey. I appreciate that bare minimum from you.
Chivalry is alive and well in Salem.
Alive and well. So he tells her to drink his blood so that she can heal her injury that Susanna gave her. The bag of bones kicked her ass and gave her internal injuries.
Elbow drop. People's elbow. That's The Rock.
Thank you so much for that.
I don't have eyebrows, so I can't, do the whole
Well, that's
thing.
the thing is, specifically, it says in the book several times, it seems like she quirked a brow, but she didn't have one.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. No! That's not possible. Where is my skeleton? Listen, I have a full-size skeleton I was about to dance with. It's about to have him beat me up. Can you imagine, though? Let's imagine it full-size, and then it's just coming at you. Ah! Rah, 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 rah. I'm like, ew. You don't have ligaments. How are you holding up?
Exactly. With magic,
She
we
quirked
assume.
her brow, but she can't do that.
Yeah, and it comes up more than once, and I'm like, we've established that she has just bones, so let's stop this now.
Listen, to be fair, to play demon advocate or whatever, in Halloween Town, the little skeleton cab driver could move his little brow ridge.
Howdy, Mayor. What's the rush?
You have made an excellent point. The thing about that I would like to bring up for the class and the jury, Your Honor, is that that's a fucking Disney movie. And this is porn.
Yes, but can't porn have ambidextrous skeletons? I don't even know if I used that word right. What's ambidextrous mean? You can use both hands. This is a magical place. Maybe the skeleton, Rachel, it's a skeleton fighting. You're telling me that the brow ridge can't move? I can excuse the skeleton walking around on its own, but I draw the line at the brow ridge moving.
I do draw the line, okay? Because this book has no plot. I'm not giving it any quarter at all. Okay, so she got her ass kicked by a skeleton, who's also her great-great-great-grandmother. The vessel, Alara carries her to, I think, his room. He tells her, drink my blood. I may be an asshole, but I'm definitely going to take advantage of you. Direct quote. Oh, there was a but at the end of the sentence, but I cut it off and I said, I don't care what the but is. He's such a douchebag. And you know what? I stand by that.
I stand by it. I didn't even read this. I was like, no, I don't care. No.
That's all I really needed to hear. So apparently when she drinks from him, afterwards comes Euphoria, which this is the second book that I'm reading recently where you drink from a vampire and you orgasm, but okay. She's still drinking and he's like, that's enough, because, you know, he's like so chivalrous. He doesn't like want her to get too horny.
Stop. Her blood is clean. You're killing her.
Don't bring them into this. Because there's a risk of her getting addicted. And it says that he couldn't risk her getting addicted and needing his blood to live. And I'm like, yeah, that would be the worst thing that you could do in this scenario, is her getting addicted to your blood. Out of all the things that we're doing here, you previously mentioned a second ago, you're going to take advantage of her. All of these things, that's not too far. But allowing her to get addicted to your blood, that is too far. She's like, thanks for coming for me and saving me from Susanna. And he says, I'll always come for you, witchling. And I'm like, you two don't know each other. Oh my God. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You don't know each other. I'll always come for you. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? You are strangers. You are strangers who are horny for each other. Like, if Carlos said that to me, that makes sense. We've been together for 16 years.
Yep.
This makes sense to me. But a stranger who said, I'm going to take advantage of you, and doesn't know her fucking middle name, probably, saying, I'll always come for you. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I just lost my pencil. I threw it.
I saw you throw it. I was going to say too, like, it would make sense for my husband to say it as well. Like, I'll always come for you. But I'm such a bitch with a capital B that I would be like reminding him of that one time he made me go to the doctor by myself. Like, this is why it doesn't work. This is why this kind of shit, this super romance, cheesy, tropey shit doesn't work. I'll always come for you. Who hurt you? There's never been a man to say that to me in real life. First of all, if my husband said, who hurt you? I'd be like, I got it. 1, he's way nicer than me. Back up. 2, I'll always is a pretty big word. Okay. Shut up.
He says, I don't give the first shit about the politics of the coven. I don't care how they choose to practice. If they want to waste the gifts they were given, then they deserve to lose it. So like, I don't even understand any of this, and none of it really matters.
But would he give the second shit? I wouldn't give the first shit. I've never heard that before. That's a whole new turn of phrase. I've heard I would not give 2 shits. I would not give the first shit about that. Okay.
Yeah, maybe the fifth shit.
Yeah, circle back around next week.
They get into an argument after this, and she's like, I thought you said I was safe with you, and he says, are you hurt or are you wet? And I'm like, are you serious? Are you actually kidding me right now? Is this a real thing that I am reading? She says, fuck you. He says, I do believe that's what you want. Do you want to come, witchling? And of course, like, we immediately just get into them being horny. These people don't know each other. They don't know each other. I cannot stress that. I probably just broke the audio. They don't know each other. And I, as the reader, don't know them.
Yeah, that is another thing that it's easy to yell about how they don't know each other. But like, we're supposed to be getting to know them too. That's part of the whole, that's your job. Mm-hmm. You're not doing your job well.
Yeah, so instead of us getting to know them, they argue some more, and he slaps her on the ass and then says, tell me you don't want me and I'll let you go. She says, I'm going to cut off your feed it to you, and I wish that she would. And his response is, that would be very foolish since my is the only one.
Don't. I already know how dumb this is going to be. Hold on. Let me guess. That wouldn't be a very good idea because my dick is the only thing that can ever satisfy you. Am I close? Really?
Yeah.
If this was Haunting Adeline, it would be something like, that'd be a bad idea because this is the only meal you'll eat for the rest of your life. Dinner is served.
Okay, I'm not going to laugh. I'm just going to read it.
All right.
That would be...
I'm blocked in.
Okay. That would be very foolish since my is the only one your pretty little can find pleasure in.
Oh, I didn't throw in the C word.
You didn't do the C word. I thought you were going to. I thought you were really going to nail it. But the only ones nailing it are these two. Yeah, his tongue sending a pulse of want straight to my... Perfect. We're just using all the words.
Core. I'm giving them a lot of grace here. All right.
He
got it.
tells her to beg me to make you come, blah blah blah. It's like the same sex scene that you have read over and over again.
How
And
about
then it's
no?
like, don't stop. They break the desk. Good for them, I suppose.
That is mahogany.
Pass the marmalade.
That is mahogany.
In the next chapter, Susanna, our calcium deficient friend, Susanna says, tomorrow night we will have our first reaping.
If she could put up 3 fingers, I would have her do it.
As part of the bargain between our kinds, witches were required to provide blood.
Provide blood. I'm listening.
Witches have to provide blood to the vessels in order for them to sustain their physical forms, because the physical forms they are in are not their real forms, because they are demons.
Right.
They were put into those physical forms by Charlotte Hecate. This is an aspect that has been nourished and held sacred through all of the centuries of difficulties between us. So they do something that is basically just sexual to sustain the vessels. That's fun. So fun. One of the witches is like, they feed on the students? I thought they fed on people in town. And I wish that this was sinners, but unfortunately it's not. It's the coven. Nothing can be sinners.
No, not for us.
All we have is sadness.
Misery.
If a vessel has been assigned to you for this reaping, you will find a red mark on your bedroom door when you return from your classes tomorrow evening. If not, you will be required to remain in your quarters regardless, starting at 8 p.m. If you've never participated in a reaping, someone will assist you with making preparations if you're chosen, George, the other bag of bones, says. So basically he's like flight attendant-ing explaining to them how the reaping is going to go. So make sure that you keep all of your shit underneath your seat if a vessel comes to reap you. And if you have something marked on your door, like, fucking what is the Bible thing that
I was gonna say, is this lamb's blood? Are we doing like Passover? Is this Passover?
I guess my mother would be thrilled.
I started to well up because there's more than one walking, talking skeleton.
Yeah, George.
This is one of those old Mickey cartoons. They're like, put the lamb's blood on your door.
So there used to be something called bonded pairs.
Sure. Yeah, I'm with you. Okay.
They stopped doing them after the massacre 50 years ago. So they don't let vessels bond with witches anymore. But guess who is a bonded pair? I think I'll give you one guess. These people who don't know each other. So once a week, the vessels are supposed to go feed on the people that the witch that they choose to feed from. But it's a different one every time, except not for her. It's going to be the same guy because he's obsessed with her, I guess. For what reason? I don't know. I have no idea. The vessels aren't, and the witches aren't supposed to form unnatural relationships with each other. So
does it really not give a reason why he's obsessed instantly? Like they're fated mates, there's something in her blood that calls to it. Nothing?
No, nothing. They're just horny.
Oh, well, I mean, we've been there,
Wait, no, there is a reason. Sorry. I forgot entirely that there is a reason later. That's how little it means.
All right. Well, you know what? Now we know.
There is a reason, but it's dumb.
Sure.
So,
yeah, I figured that,
It's worthless.
There was one, yeah.
I forgot. There is a reason. It's a Renesmee situation. Some vessels are women, by the way. Not all of them are men. So, yay, equal opportunity.
Equality!
Oh my God, we love it. As a gay, would love to see it just not exist as a book personally, but thank you so much.
I would like to see it elsewhere.
She's talking to another witch about this. Witches hate the vessels, so why would they allow vessels to touch them? I asked, thinking about how desperately I wanted to avoid the forbidden aspect, how I'd feared the judgment if I'd allow a vessel to touch me intimately, because by the way, they're allowed to fuck the vessels if they leave a sign that they're open to being fucked by the vessel.
Is it cookies and milk like for Santa? If you leave cookies and milk out, they know they're there for the present.
If you leave cat's blood and dried mice jerky.
Throw salt over your shoulder, spin around 3 times.
And say vessel 3 times in the mirror.
And then dab.
Man, I wish I could say vessel 3 times in the mirror and have vessel appear.
Shh. Stop. Behave. We're in public.
I'm sorry.
We're in public.
That just jumped out.
Woo. Put it back.
You're speaking like a woman who has never had hate sex.
Was she a virgin?
Her friend is like getting her like ready for this and like helping her like look sexy, like with her bra and stuff. The closest thing I'd ever had to friendship when she tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. This bitch has no friends. And also, I just want to point out to you, she's forgotten she has a brother who she's supposed to be protecting.
She's got to get some dick.
Apparently so.
I thought she was a virgin.
She is a virgin.
So her friend saying you are talking like you're a girl who's never had hate sex. That's what she is.
Correct. But her friend doesn't know that because they're not really friends because they don't know anything about each other. This bitch doesn't have friends because this book is bad. So she's like, okay, so it can't be Gray who comes to feed on me because we wouldn't want to be like a bonded pair and I've already drank from him. So it has to be somebody else. So I had no doubt Gray would be able to smell me on another male. He'd know exactly what I'd done and it would serve him fucking right. And I'm like, bitch, what do you mean serve him fucking right? What do you mean by that? Actually, don't elaborate. I don't want to know. Much like the bag of eggs that What's-His-Face is holding in the Twilight pictures, everything that happens in this book is meaningless. The eggs are there for no reason, and so is everything in this book, because the point is the fucking. So she is left by her friend. Well, first she says, I can either secure you to the bed or I can put you on this hook.
Hook, you say?
Yep.
What kind of hook? What are we talking? Are we talking like it could kill you? Or are we talking?
It says, Willow, I have to do this, and I have to blindfold you also. If I don't, they'll force you. Do you understand? This isn't optional.
This is an hook.
I think it's like cuffs, like she's hanging. Just like from
say that. He said a hook. If you would have said rack, that would have been better.
The vessel comes in, Alaric comes in.
Yeah.
And it's like she's lost sight of what vessels are. She needed the reminder of what I was capable of and what I was not. A vessel could never love her. She'd never be anything more than a convenience and a toy.
Uh-huh.
Love it. I love it.
Okay.
It's so great.
Honestly, that's fine if that's what it is, because it seems like that's what the whole setup is for everybody. They're just there to feed and go. That seems like the deal.
It's not like we're learning anything at this school, so.
No, but like this is supposed to be like the OTP of the book. Okay, then just shut up. It talks too
I forgot
much.
to tell you, he's the devil.
Like Satan?
Satan, yeah. We're going to find this out at the end. But this motherfucker's the devil, and she's his Renesmee. It's so good. You're gonna love it. Let's persevere. He goes in and drinks from her, and she doesn't know that it's him. And oh, by the way, she has a tree tattoo, which he calls addictive, which is interesting.
I rolled my eyes at the tree tattoo, and then I had to roll them back for addictive. So he has a tattoo?
She does.
He has the tattoo. Does he mean that he can like taste the ink in the blood? Is this a used song?
Nope. I traced the addictive tree tattoo on her leg, tickling over the trunk.
Not the trunk. I was like, how bad could it be? She's saying it's so bad, it's not fun. It's bad. It's not fun.
So he bites her, and it says, I bite down harder, incapable of controlling my anger at her being aroused with someone else. This was the reminder I'd wanted. All witches were the same and only good for one thing. The more of her blood filled me, the more I felt renewed.
Who is she aroused for?
Him, because of, I guess, vessel venom. Because when they bite witches get horny.
So she's not for someone else. She's for him?
But she doesn't know that because she's blindfolded.
Walk with me. Your husband's in the room. He's laying down, blindfolded. You start messing with him, and he's aroused. Can you imagine him me being like, ugh, how could he? Like, it's me. And those reactions are involuntary. They just happen. Like, if the wind blows just right, I'm like, what are we up to? Like, he's made this problem out of nowhere. He's in a fight with himself to the death, I hope.
He's like all of those jokes where it's like, you cheated on me in my dream, and now I'm mad at you in real life.
You know what? I cancel what I said because I do that shit. I wake up mad as hell. I'm like, you won't believe what you did to me last night. He's like, I was asleep. This wasn't real. Real to me.
Don't forget this is a murder mystery also.
More bodies
keep turning up dead. And they're like, it had to be you. It must be you. You're probably looking for your next victim because you are the odd one out here. And one of the other witches wants to fight her and calls her a bitch. And it says, you spelled witch wrong. And I'm like, what do you mean spelled? It wasn't spelled. It was dead!
You spelled bitch wrong. What she meant was, you mean witch.
You meant to say witch.
You meant witch. I'll forgive you this one time. That's so much better.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's still corny. She gets her ass kicked again. And so she tells them all, you should leave before he finds out. And she means Alaric, because as we know, he'll always come for the witchling.
So she's got her ass handed to her twice. Forgive me,
Actually,
I don't feel like she's super powerful as a witch.
She tells them you should leave before he finds out what you did. And one of the dudes says to her, vessel-loving bitch, you're so fucking loyal to him and he follows you around like a puppy, doesn't he? But where was he during the reaping, Willow?
Does he follow
on her
puppy?
He'll always come for her, Natalie. I guess. That sounds like a puppy. He's scratching at the door whenever she's talking to somebody. Please let me in.
I don't have anything better to do than spy on her. Wait, I don't.
I'm trying to come for you. There's a door in the way. I'm Satan, but this door is in the way.
She strolls into his bedroom because she had nowhere else to go. And he says, I think it's time that you acknowledge that it's too late to save yourself from me, love. And I'm like, oh, wow. Is it too late
to save me?
I would like to be saved from this man and her. The whole book, actually. Help. Who did this to you? Was it Susanna? Yeah. Her answer is, are you going to fuck me?
Are you gonna fuck me? Not anymore. No.
Someone just tried to kill you. If that's what they wanted, I'd be dead, I said, leaning into him, my naked breasts pressed against his shirt. You've had me naked twice, and somehow I'm still unfucked.
Ugh. Hot. I love it.
You could have been killed, he says. And if I was, what difference would it have made? The only person who would care is, I would care, he says, with a period after every word, which, as we know, I hate. I would care.
I do too.
And then it says this line that I see quoted in the Goodreads reviews, and I'm really not trying to make fun of people for liking what they like, but
okay, hold on.
I read this line and I thought, if Carlos said that to me in this context, I'd cut off his dick.
And feed it to him, even though it's your last meal or whatever the fuck.
Yes, thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much, Diane. Thank you. Okay, I'm ready to hear the quotable line you're about to read to me.
This is supposed to be like peak romance. According to this book, you fight. Every moment of every day you fight because that is who you are. What happens when I'm tired of fighting? Then you let me do it for you. Thank you so much, Diane.
Okay. All right. Okay. No, hot. I love it. Tension.
All right, so he finally admits to her that he was the one who fed from her in the reaping. You think I would allow anyone but me to touch you, he says. You asshole, she says. Careful, love. You just might come close to admitting you wanted it to be me. Fuck you, she says. I've known exactly what you are for some time, witchling. He admits to her that he knows that she is a necromancy witch after the bones. Did you forget that that was a plot point? Me too. So she's like, okay, just kill me and get it over with. If I wanted you dead, I would have killed you already. Yada, yada. What exactly did you have planned for me after you found the bones? And she's like, I didn't want to do it. And he's like, what exactly? What was your plan for me? And it was at this point I realized, I don't know either. I don't know what the plan was. Because remember, if we recall, the plan had 3 steps.
Yeah.
The plan had 3 steps. Seduce the vessel, find out what he knows, get the bones. There was no 4th step to that.
Did she find out what he knows?
That's what we're actively doing right now.
Oh, okay.
Like 85, like 85% in the book. So she admits, I was going to unmake you, capital U, which I guess is when you release the Kraken. You undo all of the vessels, and then they are not in vessels anymore, so they can't feed from witches.
Snap in a V formation.
Perfect.
Unmake.
You've been after my cock since you got here. Did you think I was hiding the bones there?
I bet you were hiding one of them. A radius and or almond.
Oh, I want to be dead.
One day.
And he says, you can't even say it, can you? You're in love with me, Willow Hecate. Say it. I hate you, I snarled instead of giving him the answer he wanted. It was a clash of lips and tongue, of teeth and violence as he devoured my mouth as if it were the blood he needed to survive. Whatever helps you sleep at night, he says. I'll help you find the bones, but I expect something in return. And then they're having sex.
Oh, love that. I might need to change to a new seat. This one's soaked.
Well, don't forget, she's a virgin. So we have to have that conversation. Ready?
Uh-huh.
The head of him notched against my entrance as he shoved forward in a harsh, swift drive that tore me in two. I curled forward.
Oh, here, look at Susanna. Right. I curled forward. I'm so glad I have an aid, a visual aid. I love a visual aid. Notched at my entrance. What is this? A belt?
Yeah.
Click. It's like that thing that they do at the OBGYN when you get a pap smear. They just click, notch, click.
Nothing. Actually, that might be it. The one thing less sexy than being pregnant is a pap smear.
And now he's notching like the speculum.
Love it. He's staring down into her pained face as his realization dawned. Why didn't you tell me? He asked.
Wait, that's my reaction during a pap smear too. I just curl forward. They're like, relax. I'm like, I can't.
I literally can't. Oh, I forgot to mention it says, fuck, you're already wet. At least your greedy little is ready to admit it wants me.
At least. Oh God. All right.
Can I just say that Vessel, real world, would never.
No. This is not correct.
He's staring down into her pained face as his realization dawned. Why didn't you tell me? He asked. Because that would have been a fun conversation. My father thought I'd have a better chance of seducing you if I was a virgin. Okay, she thinks to herself.
So she's curled forward and he's looking down into her pained face. I imagine this.
He grasped so then he pulls out. He grasped a thigh in each hand, his fingers pressing into the soft flesh as he spread them wide and stared down at the space between my legs. I studied him, the reverence on his face as he watched me. You're bleeding, he said, sliding himself down the bed until his face was centered just above my pussy.
Can you just... You're bleeding. It's like a scuba diver.
Hot.
I do this all the time. This is a pap smear. This whole thing. This is a pap smear. The curling, the relax, the bleeding, the hold on, let me get a closer look.
Scooch to the edge of the bed for me.
Scoot all the way down and relax. Okay.
He sprawled on his stomach, his beautiful face staring up at me as he touched his tongue to my center.
Hold on. Sprawled on his stomach.
He went down like Mission Impossible.
Yeah, just like a gecko. I'm sweating. And not the way I'm supposed to be.
I wish I was. Instead, I want a diagram for scientific purposes.
Discussing this with me the same week that the new Sleep Token album came out is kind of rude.
Is it? Because I feel like it's such a good juxtaposition as to how easy it is to write something that is like inciting horniness versus how easy it is to write something that incites the opposite of horniness. They both had the same intended purpose, and yet one makes me want to die, and the other makes me want to sign over my savings account.
I wanna be a provider.
Anyways, who's Penelope?
She's my wife.
That's also gonna happen. That's his wife.
Great.
Do you know what happens to a witch in the coven on her 16th birthday? He asked. By the way, his tongue is still in her.
Wait a minute! Listen, I am sorry I yelled, but I know he's a demon, so he has some like otherworldly capabilities. You're telling me this is what happened to Winter? Sprawled out. This is the worst visual I've ever had come to life before me. So he sprawled on his stomach.
Stomach.
Do anything like that, and let alone have a whole. This is a pap smear. They're down there notching it up, cranked it out, and then they're like, so how have you been? We're not talking right now. Your tongue is busy. Not my gyno, the vessel. That's not you. Okay. This is the opposite, whatever the opposite of sexy is. Repulsive.
That is my thesis statement.
Repugnant.
There is magic in blood and sex, and some of the most potent that exists. On their 16th birthday, a female witch is forced to choose a partner to give herself to. We're talking about minors now.
Oh, good. That was one thing we were missing.
Yeah, that was certainly on my list of things I hope that we talk about. Minors having sex while adults are having sex. Great.
What?
Fantastic.
Done.
A witch wouldn't dare risk her first time being with a vessel. Why not? She asked. Yeah, so he goes back up inside of her. I winced when he found the newly tender tissue working his way through it even as I gasped. If there is magic in blood, imagine what kind of magic resides in blood that can only be given once. It forms a bond, an obsession between the vessel and his witch, he said, snapping his hips forward and burying himself to the hilt. Yeah, can we get it on the...
It snapped! Damn it, Susanna.
You made a mistake, Willow, he said. I will never stop wanting to be inside you now.
Hold on.
In the next chapter, he hardly lets her leave his room. It had been all I could do to control my instincts and allow her to leave my room at all. I'd let her rest and then woken her up with my cock between her legs.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's great.
That's so good. Yep. So then he goes and talks to the other vessels, and they're like, is she talking about the bones yet? Because they all know. Because something is afoot. And here's your first clue that something is afoot. I wish that this hadn't been our first clue. I wish that we had done some plot way earlier. We didn't, though, which is just great. Susanna, actually, speak of the devil. Well, Susanna comes back, bag of bones that she is, and she's like, it took me a minute, but I realize now you look just like your aunt. Yeah, but on your dad's side, I know now that you are a double witch and you are a black witch, and so you have the necromancy. You're the last of my bloodline. Surely you must know that I would do anything to preserve that. You should leave this place and never return. Ward yourself so that even the Covenant and Alaric cannot find you. I will allow you to live out of loyalty to the blood that we share, but you cannot remain here, which feels like in conflict with what she just said, which is like, I'd do anything to protect you, whatever. She'd given me permission to leave, to go to Ash and live out our lives free of the Coven. And yet, I still asked, where are the bones, Susanna? Foolish girl, your lover has had them all this time. Surely you know that, and that's why you allowed him to touch you. Why you've let him take such liberties.
Liberty, liberty, liberty.
Willow's like, no, he said he would help me find the bones. He would have given them to me. And Susanna's like, if you listen to one thing I ever tell you, let it be this. You should run and do not ever come back. So she's having a Lion King moment. And she's like, why would I run? The vessels loved Charlotte Hecate for what she was to them. And Susanna says, all that I've done has been to keep him from getting his hands on you, which feels very much out of nowhere, but okay. Those bones are not worth what you will unleash if you stay here. You don't know him, Willow. The bargain swore those of us who do to secrecy. And so she like swallows up her great-great-grandma into the earth with her green magic, and then she runs away. So then she runs into the forest and she gets attacked by stuff called the Cursed, which is actually the name of the second book. Do I care? No. She gets attacked by these things called the Cursed, which were made by, again, Charlotte Hecate, who also made the vessels for the demons to live in. So who finds her? Of course, he'll always come for her. Alaric. He says, what were you thinking? With a period after each one. Perfect. Love it.
Good.
And she lies and she says, Susanna cornered me in the gardens. She knows that I'm a black witch too, so I ran away. So she just straight up lies to this demon.
Sure.
And he's like, yeah, and nobody can find Susanna now, by the way. So he figures out she's lying and he's like, it's a shame. I'd hoped to hold on to these until everything was ready so that this would be less traumatic for you. And he has in his office the bones that she's been looking for this whole time. Well, that she said she was supposed to be looking for when really she was just spending this entire time being horny as fuck. So then the bones woke up and she's like, you've had them this whole time. And he says, sit down. His compulsion that he has for being a vessel, like to be able to tell people what to do, normally doesn't work on her. It's working now. So he's able to literally tell her what to do. He gives her the bones and then says, your entire life has been like leading up to this. I've waited a very long time for you and my patience grows thin. You'll accept the bones one way or another. I don't want them anymore, she says. Not until you tell me the truth. All of this came out of fucking nowhere. It says, you will be the last of the Hecate line and the magic in those bones will die with you, my love. So he puts the bones on her and
wink.
He raises Charlotte Hecate from the dead using her, and he admits that when that he's been killing the witches currently, and 50 years ago when all the murders were happening, that was him too, and he killed her aunt. Yeah. Your aunt screamed when I cut her throat before she could ever lay a hand on me to unmake me. She was a Hecate witch. Why would you kill her?
So he's a serial killer.
Yeah, but he's the devil. Don't forget, we're about to learn that he's the devil. Okay, he brings out her brother and her dad to like make her comply. He then like stabs her and rips something out of her. I don't know if it's a rib or what.
Oh my God, that's biblical.
I didn't expect to regret this part, he said, slipping his fingers into the hole he'd created in my stomach. He sank his teeth into his wrist, and then he gives her his blood so that she'll heal quickly. So he rips out whatever he needs, and then he throws all of this shit, like the bones and stuff, and then he raises Charlotte Hecate from the dead. Charlotte Hecate, who created the vessels in the first place.
Yeah, okay.
Her dad turns to Charlotte Hecate, and he's like, "You swore you'd bring back my sister." And Charlotte Hecate is like, "You suck as a dad," basically, because he's been abusing Willow. And so she puts him in a box in the ground forever. Oh, right. The bone that was inside of her that he pulled out wasn't hers.
Beg pardon.
I have so many questions, she says. I don't understand any of this. That bone wasn't mine. I put it there on the night you were born.
Oh, bother. What do you mean? Wait, you're not going to just blow past this. What the fuck are you talking about? Also, who has an open wound where someone's digging around in it, retrieving a bone, and you're like, that's not my bone. That's not my bone. Who? Where? Why? Also, this is very supernatural.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Because, like, there's a whole plot point in that series where the demon finds the baby before they grow up and do all these things. No spoilers. Mm-hmm. But like, what do you mean you put it there when I was born? What are you doing in your spare time? Implanting bones?
Boners.
If I could roll my eyes out onto the floor, I would.
Well, Susanna might be able to. All right, so it actually says, she says, I have so many questions. I don't understand any of this. So we're on the same page with her, which as a reader sucks. That sucks. Like, it sucks to be in the dark the entire time, only for such a baloney payoff. So it says, I put it there the night you were born. A long time ago, Charlotte asked me to make sure she would always be with you. But why? None of this makes any sense. You were the price of my bargain, Willow, Charlotte Hecate says. The vessels were the price of the bargain. I argued the vessels were a distraction, Charlotte says. They were my way of trying to limit the ability of the demons had to hurt people by forcing them to stay local to the coven. They were never the price the devil demanded for the magic he gave me. That was always you. Only the daughter of two bloodlines of two magics can open the seal. And she notices that there's a mirror with a face on it, and she realizes that the face is her face. It was me, carved into stone. Devil only knew how many years before I'd been born. You must live because you are the only hope of fixing what I've done. I'm so sorry, Charlotte says. So then they open a portal to hell using all of this shit. Beelzebub comes crawling out. Satanus, Beelzebub.
Beelzebub.
I smashed that together with Beetlejuice. It's Beetlejuice and Satanus and Leviathan and Belphegor. They maneuvered Lucifer up and out of the pit. The male form lying sprawled on the cot, on the cot in front of me was dead, entirely devoid of life, but the devil couldn't die. Why is he like that? Why isn't he moving? She asks Charlotte, and Charlotte says, because his soul is already here. Because inside of the vessel that she's been fucking is the soul of the devil. She's been fucking Lucifer. Trying to make sense of her words, you once asked me my true name. Are you ready for the answer yet, wife?
No. There was no exchange of paperwork. There was no ring. What are we doing?
I will never forgive you for this. I see you will, he said. In time, you'll realize just how fleeting human life is, how little it matters. When everyone you know has died and lies rotting in the earth, you and I will remain. You will find that anything can be forgiven if given the time for memory to fade. I'm human. I'll die like the rest, I said. You will not remain human for long. The truth was staring me in the face that I'd fucked the goddamn devil. Lucifer! Put me back into his actual body. And she's like, absolutely fucking not. How many more do you think will die in order to get you to do what you're told? And she's like, please, Gray, don't do this. And he's like, she's thinking, well, that's not even his name. And he says, I can't love you in this form, but I can in my own form. Let me love you as you deserve, witchling. And so she uses the bones, and then Lucifer the Morning Star opened his golden eyes. The end, ... for now. But don't worry, it says, are you desperate for more of Gray and Willow? Download the sneak peek into the sequel.
I won't be doing that. No.
Witch fucked devil. Virgin witch fucked the devil.
I mean, who, if not her, who, you know?
Not me.
If not now, when?
I wish it was never.
So stunned. The woman was too stunned to speak. That was so much nothing.
Yeah.
That's pretending to be something. I'm hungry.
I'm starving.
There's nothing to eat.
Well, we were just fed a whole bunch of nothing for an hour and a half.
That wore me out. I need a nap.
Do you see why yesterday I quit?
Yeah, no, this makes sense now.
I quit and had a migraine. Anyway, so Willow the witch fucked the devil.
Oh, I have a question. Where's her brother?
What?
Where's her brother?
He got escorted away.
Wasn't that like the whole thing? What do we...
Allegedly, the whole thing was keep your brother safe, but then pull the rug out from under us. The whole thing is fucking the devil.
Can you imagine if Katniss gets reaped, right? And the whole thing is like leading up to the games, and all of a sudden the devil comes there and just like rails her and tells her that she's the right age to just do this. And then you're like, what happened to the games? What are we, I thought we had set up something here.
That's what I said yesterday while I was filming. I think like right before I quit was, it feels like one of those times where you play a pretend game with your friends, and initially like you start and it's like, let's play shop, let's let's play like doctor's office, and
cool.
You know, you guys are the like the people fielding the phone calls at the doctor's office. Then one day like somehow something happens where by the end, an hour later, you're playing a very different game where now there's unicorns trying to kill you or something.
What do you mean the bridge fell in? What do you mean the earth cracked open? I'll get everybody down there. We gotta move. This is supposed to be doctor's office.
Yeah.
Why is the world ending?
But then somebody changes it and then takes it, and you're playing a completely different game by the end where there's the devil and all kinds of shit. That's what happened in this book. Was we started out somewhere and we didn't know where we were going. We had an idea.
You had with that you were and demon sex.
You could fuck anybody.
Yeah, you could fuck anybody.
Yeah, that's this.
Whatever. Well, that was fun. Thanks for sharing.
I just think that if you were going to write fucking the devil, the least you could have done is not made sex scenes that made me want to curl into myself and cease to exist.
They made her want to curl into herself.
That made me want to die. And I did die inside. On the inside, I am Susanna. Oh, because I am a skeleton.
We're all Susanna on the inside. High five, Susanna.
Susanna, look alive, man.
Susanna's a little gay.
Susanna, not you being one of us.
One of us.
So I guess parting question before we go, is there any book that main character fucks the devil that is actually good?
It's a great question.
Isn't it? I thought it might be a good parting question.
I would love to know that answer because I'd read that.
I like when our vessel says, I do want to go there. I do want to fuck the devil. I just want it to be written good. I do.
In the ICU.
ICU.
Shut up.
I can't talk about this.
Not in public. I was listening to it on my PS5 while playing Stardew Valley. The juxtaposition, just, I couldn't take it.
Honestly, everybody's lucky I am as chill as I normally am about stuff. Like, I'm not, like, weird. And then one song comes out and I'm like, actually, I'm a weirdo. I'm weird. I don't fit in.
This hair, I'm weird, okay?
You see this haircut?
You see this gay-ass shirt I bought? Weird.
So the only devil I want to fuck is Vessel, but the one in real life with mask on. That's it.
My kid asked me the other day, he's like, what does he even look like? I was like, I don't care. I don't care. Well, don't you want? No, I don't. And we're not having this conversation.
No. I demand to never know what he looks like, actually. Even if he's hot, I don't want to know.
No, just leave me alone.
I do. Do you want to go there? No, I don't.
No, I do not. Thank you. I appreciate the offer, but the answer is no.
Yeah.
Same for this book. Don't want to go there either.
No. If I'm going to fuck the devil, it better be fun. I don't ever want to fuck the devil like
Better
this.
be fun. He's the goddamn devil.
That doesn't mean he can't have a good time. Why are you putting the devil in a little box?
Right. He's supposed to be the most beautiful angel of all of them, the most charismatic, the most charming.
I bet you he does sing like Vessel, actually.
Yeah,
he was an angel.
Have him sprawled out, licking me and talking to me at the same time. Does he have two mouths? If it was like Revelation shit, where it's like, and a beast comes out of the sea with 10 heads and 4 mouths. Okay, one of them is busy on the snatch. The other one's chatting. The other one's sipping a chai. Fine. This is just a guy, one mouth to rule them all.
Do you think that if we're going to have a book where you fuck the devil, that it has to be Polly?
No.
Like with different versions of his devil self?
Not necessarily, but at the same time, like if he's just like himself, he just shows up raw, that's soul and body at the same thing. But if his soul is in another body, you're already kind of doing two things at once. So I don't know. Maybe one day.
Well, let us know in the comments.
Drop it down low.
Yeah. Let us know your favorite devil fucking book.
Please, God. I am nothing if not a whore. So.
I'm lots of things other than a whore. Typically, it's just that this book in particular.
I mean, I'm also a hater and very funny, but
I'm nothing if not a hater.
If I'm not hating, I have passed away.
Thank you for being here.
I was going to say thanks, but it was, it was fine.
Terrible, actually. One of the worst. This is my worst book of the year so far.
Wow. Do I have a worst book?
Probably.
I don't know what it is. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Is it not Hunting Adeline?
I didn't read that this year.
Oh, shit.
I've read something stupid, though. I know I have. Credence.
Oh, yeah. Credence.
It's been a long 5 months. So I was like, that was last year. No.
Would Credence have been better if one of the dudes she was fucking was the devil?
No, because he was still occupying a relative. Distant, step, half, whatever the fuck you want to put in there to make it better. It doesn't. Like, oh, well, my real uncle would never want to actually do this to me. Yeah, but you still fucked your uncle. Am I being dumb here? Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. People can leave questions and comments down below. And if you made it this far, you can leave a devil emoji because we fucked the devil. Okay, see you next time. Bye.